Holy smokes, we've got lots of gals already watching on the YouTube. I'm seeing lots of comments already from them. They are ready to go. So welcome. Happy Wednesday, of course. My name is Noreen Smith. I am the product development creative manager for Creative Memories. It's a mouthful, I tell you, every time I get hung up on it. But I am always pleased to be here with you each and every Wednesday, 5 o'clock p.m. CT, and that's both in the on the YouTube channel and in the Creative Memories Facebook group, the Virtual Crop Facebook group. So if you are ever looking, and I see some comments sometimes about, oh, I can never find you live. If you have a problem finding us live in the Facebook group, you might see comments like, make sure you're refreshing your screen. If you're in the group and you keep refreshing, you should see it, or you should get a little notification at the top of your device saying, you know, Noreen Smith is live in Creative Memories Facebook group. So just have a look there. But if you have problems, definitely go on to the YouTube channel, because you can just be on the channel and you can see that it's scheduled, and it will just start right at 5 o'clock p.m. and you'll have no problems. So obviously great reasons for being in both platforms, right? YouTube is so easy to find all of the playlists, anything you're looking for. It's easy to watch live there. And then, of course, being in the Virtual Crop Facebook group has huge benefits because, of course, we do have the virtual crops, we do challenges, we give away prizes, we see inspiration all the time. It's a great place to be. So you'll want to make sure that you are a member of both platforms. Subscribe and like on the YouTube channel, and make sure you're joined and following in the Facebook group. Okay, so that's the public service announcement for today. Hello, everyone. Oh, that's great. Great to see everybody. Here we've got our Facebook gals coming on now. We've got everybody from Illinois, Oregon, Wisconsin, Kansas, Nova Scotia. There's my good friend Allie from Nova Scotia. Hello, Allie. Kansas. Someone is camping in Kentucky near Abe Lincoln's birthplace. That would be some cool pictures to get scrapbooked for sure. We've got Roz from Australia is here. Florida's here. Oh, and yeah, and we've got Gail from New Zealand. She says she's catching us live 11 o'clock a.m. the next morning, of course, in New Zealand. So hello, everybody. Well, welcome. And today we are going to be talking about something near and dear to my heart. We're going to be talking about smaller format scrapbooking. Last week, of course, we talked about getting lots of photos on pages, and we did the snap and scrap challenge in the Facebook group, where we challenged you to get at least 10 photos on a 2-page layout or even a 1-page layout. And you guys did great. There were so many great entrants. Definitely check out that hashtag inside the Facebook group to see all of the different, some people used the sketch that we provided. Some people did pocket pages. Some people did combinations. Some people used peekaboo pockets. Some people cropped and, did small little grid photos. There was lots and lots of different ideas. So thank you so much for sharing. And we always enjoy those fun little pop-up sort of challenges. And this week I'm kind of challenging you in a different way. I want you to do a little bit of thinking ahead, because now is the time of year as we move, we've come through the busy September, kids going back to school, all of the routines getting back into place. Feels like the beginning of a new year again, doesn't it? And we've come through September. Now we're moving into October, November. Then December is not far behind. So we are starting to turn our thoughts to some of the holidays that are happening, coming up and happening in the next few months. And I want to sort of challenge you today to think ahead so that you can kind of take advantage of some things that are happening now and get prepped. And what I'm really talking about are 8x8 albums. As I said, near and dear to my heart. I love working in this format. I have lots that I've done over the years, and I always am excited to see our limited editions. And again, the launches and the promos in the last month throughout September have been so incredible that I kind of feel like our beautiful 8x8s, our limited edition 8x8s, kind of got, not lost, but, but kind of they were under the radar. So I definitely wanted to bring those to your attention today. And they are available until October 31st. So I wanted to show them to you, talk a little bit about some of the ways that you can use them, thinking about, fall themed albums, holiday albums, albums for gift giving. Again, if you're thinking about giving anybody a completed album for Christmas, you might want to get started on that, or think about how you want to tackle that. So yeah, so I thought it would be a good sort of time to think a little bit ahead of the game, get ahead of the game, and think about some of that smaller format scrapbooking. Now, I love 8x8s because they are so versatile. I just mentioned a couple of different usages. What I want to do is flip over to my table, and I want to share a couple of 8x8s that we've done in the past and talk about the new albums, the new limited edition albums that are available right now. And then we're going to talk about a few different things. So let me flip you let me flip you over to my table, and then let's talk. Okay, that would probably be the easiest thing to do. I get ahead of myself. I'm so excited. So yeah, I want to talk a little bit about some of the albums that we have done over the last little while. And I actually see a comment of 30 days of thankful. So we're actually going to talk about that in a second too. And then I want to talk about the limited edition. So let me just move these over to the side here so I don't forget. Now especially over the last year, since we've been doing the Fast and Funs, we've done a variety of different albums. So we've done some fun kids-based albums, and this was using our 8x8 fast album formula. I'm going to talk about this one here in a second. We also did a Halloween. Remember, we did this one last October using the same formula, but it has such a different look, right? So some of you may be thinking about upcoming, Halloween. Maybe you do a big party. Maybe you want to document all of the costumes that your kiddos wear, that kind of thing. So Halloween's a great one. We also did some Christmas ones. So this was using Joy to the World and the Fast album formula. That was a really beautiful album to put together. And then, of course, leading up to December, one of my favorite things of the entire year for documenting is doing a December daily, a concept created by Ali Edwards. And we've all, kind of done our own thing with it, but we call it December Days around here. And this was the December Days album that I put together last year. And again, kind of based on the 8x8 fast album formula, but with lots of little extras and lots of little fun interactive elements that we did. We added some fun tabs, put peekaboo pockets, bows. We cut some pages. So we did lots and lots of fun interactive things here. We even added some little cards, and tip outs, that kind of thing. Oh yeah, and then our little envelopes as well. So that was a super fun album to do. And I love being able to create those. Now, somebody mentioned the kind of the days of gratitude or days of thankful. And this is an album that I actually created 2018. Class I did a long time ago, but that idea of 30 or 31 in case of Canadian, if you do it in October, 31 thankful days where there's a prompt and an idea for documenting something that you are thankful for. So that's a really popular thing as well. And I see lots of variations about that. People do, there's a little sketch. Obviously, I misplaced that. Lots of people do different things for October. There's the idea of an October daily as well. Or again, if you are in Canada, you might want to do an album in October since Canadian Thanksgiving is in October. Or you might want to do a gratitude or thankful album in November if you are in the States. But there's no wrong time to do a thankful album. So all of those kinds of ideas are out there for using your 8x8. So I just wanted to give you kind of a quick overview of some of the things you can do. We've also done, summer ones. We've done ones for Mother's Day, Father's Day, all of those kinds of things. So if you can think of a theme, you can do it in an 8x8. And I will make sure to link the 8x8 Fast Album Formula handout, which you can download. And it has all of the sketches and the little cutting guide in it. And you can get these on the CM website. So I will put the link for this below in the comments after I finish. So let me just show you the available 8x8. So this one is called Dusted Blue Shimmer. And I hope the camera is picking up that gorgeous blue color. This would be a lovely gift album. This is something that you could do almost any time and for any theme. It would be especially lovely with the autumn harvest papers because of that blue that's running through it. I think this is just such a pretty album. Then we've got the plain hunter green. Now our regular book cloth albums we always have available in 8x8 size would be ruby, chocolate, ebony, and cobalt. So they are very much like this in that they are plain book cloth, but the hunter green is lovely. And if you're thinking about doing a December Days type of album, you might want to pick that up. I am going to be talking in a few weeks about my plans for December Days this year. So you may want to hold off if you're not too sure what you want to do and until I kind of show you my plan, and you may want to follow along with my plan. Remember, these are available until October 31st. So you do have a little bit of time to choose, make your choices. Then we have the chocolate quilted stitch. And this is a foil stitching. So again, I hope it really does have almost like a three-dimensional looking effect, but it is a printed album. So that chocolate is lovely, very masculine. That would be a lovely gift album for a fella in your life, a heritage album, anything like that. This would also make a great sort of recipe album. I can see lots of chocolate recipes going into that. And then my favorite of the bunch this year is Sunset Orange Cascading Pumpkins. So that is an absolutely beautiful, again, foiled with the orange. I don't think it's picking up very well there, but all of these pumpkins and little gourds are all foiled in an orange on the paler orange background. So that would be my choice for anything like a Halloween album, a gratitude album, Thanksgiving, anything like that. I think this is just stunning. Fall adventures, that kind of thing. But again, do remember that we've got pages and we've got the regular albums always available. These 4 are the ones that are limited edition, available till October 31st. And for those of you who have made 8x8s before, tell me what your preference is. Are you an 8x8 regular refill page person where you either scrapbook right on top here or you wallpaper your 8x8 paper on top? Or are you a 8x8 side loading fan where you can scrapbook onto individual pieces of cardboard or paper and then slip them in? Those are the 2 different styles we have for 8x8s. Tell me if you are refill page or if you're a side loader fan. All right, so those are the albums. And as I said, with any of these albums, any of the regular albums, of course, you can do an 8x8 fast album formula. But maybe you've done a few of those, and maybe you're looking for some different ideas, or maybe you've done some of these and you want a special sort of title page. And so today I really wanted to talk about our special little 8x8 recipe template, and it's called Line It Up. So you can see a little example down here. absolutely cute and so, so versatile. So again, this little recipe template is going to be a great addition to your kind of your techniques and your quick ways of working with your 8x8s, because this is going to give you a little bit of a different look and enable you to get it done fast. Now, just like we were talking about title pages and using recipe templates in other fast and fun episodes for 12x12s, we can use those same ideas and techniques for our 8x8s. And because I was talking about it today, we decided that, maybe we should put it on sale for you. Now, it's not a new product. But it is something that really works well with the 8x8. So we decided that we'd put it on sale in our sale category, so you can find it in there now for a reduced or discounted price. So if you haven't seen it before, or if after today you think, oh yeah, I got to pick one of those up, you can definitely do that in the sale category. Okay, so don't miss out on that. And if you're an eagle-eyed kind of gal, you might have noticed that it was actually added today around noon to the sale category. And also another fantastic recipe template, the ribbon recipe template, which is a 12x12. And of course it has a large ribbon because coming up into October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And we also put the Power of Pink collection on sale. So if you are by any chance doing a small album, maybe about a loved one or about your own journey, maybe with cancer or another health issue, that recipe template, the ribbon one, might be of interest to you. So just a couple of notes there about a couple of new additions to our sale category. So the Line It Up template, again, when you first look at it, it looks fairly plain. We've got some circles, we've got some rectangles, we've got some strips. But it really is versatile, like all of the other recipe templates we have. Of course, you can turn it, right? You can rotate it around. You can use individual elements. You can choose which elements you want. You can leave certain elements out. You can use it on a single page. You can use it on a double page. It can be, you can use it with photos, or you can use it with papers. You've got lots and lots of choices. So I thought maybe I would just play around with it for a couple of minutes here. I've got some pre-cut pieces. And so the circles themselves are 3 inches. And you can easily cut that using the inside of your large circle, custom cutting system circle template with the blue blade. So that will give you your 3-inch circles. Okay, so we've got a couple of 3-inch circles we can play with. And then each of these little pieces could be, a little piece of paper. But I decided that I would kind of just figure out a couple of templates that I could use for photos. Because again, on that sort of theme last week of getting lots of photos on our pages, I can fit actually 4 photos here if I use these guidelines and just sort of extend them. So I've cut a couple of pieces of cardstock here, 2 3/4 by 2 7/8. You don't necessarily need to remember this because of course you can trace them. Or if you have your ruler handy, when you get your Line It Up template, I like to trace it onto the back of the packaging insert. And then I would just go ahead and I would mark all of my, my measurements for reference. So we could go ahead and do that really quickly. Although I don't want to do it too quickly because I'll mess it up. I know I will. So I could go ahead and just kind of trace my shapes right onto that backing paper. Okay. And then I could write right inside here that this is a 3-inch circle and it's the inside of a large CCS circle with blue blade. So I can do that for all of my all of my shapes here. And I can measure them out and then just write the dimensions right on that backing sheet or the insert sheet so that I always have reference for it. So that's a little tip that I like to do. But yeah, so I decided I would go ahead and measure out what it would be like to get some photos. So I could do something like this with 2 photos and have, you know, another space either for the title, or maybe I'd put my journaling down here. I could also use 3 of these spaces and I'd get a slightly larger photo. So 2 3/4 by 4 3/8. So again, I could use some space for journaling or fill it in with another photo. So that is a great way to get, you know, four photos onto an 8 by 8 page and still have it look, you know, quite organized, quite nice, you know. So let's talk about how to do maybe a 2-page layout. So I've got a couple here. So what if we had something like this where I can put my, I'm going to try to slide them underneath here. I'm sure they're going to go all over the place here, but let's just play around. So I might have my 2 3-inch photos. Okay, so I'd be gluing those down. And then I think here maybe I would have, you know, photos like this. Okay, so let's slide these underneath. Always takes a minute longer to do the underneath part. And then I could also cut some decorative strips. So these are, I think, about 5/8. So I could put some decorative strips in here. And that would make a really quick little page. Again, remember that I was talking about using, you know, your template as much for a guideline. Oops, that should be sideways. As much as for a guideline as to how to place things on your page, as much as tracing and cutting. And then maybe over here I would do kind of that sideways orientation. So there we go. There's 1 photo, 2 photos. Then I can put 1 underneath here this way. If I got another one, I do. And then 2 more sort of decorative strips. So that would make a really quick kind of 2-page 8 by 8 spread. And I've got 8 photos on there. So you can really, you know, kind of stretch your designs that way. Of course, we could do it. I'm just going to turn this whole thing, right? So we can make it very symmetrical. We could take out these parts and we could make our pictures a little bit larger and just have our, you know, our side borders. Of course, we could mat our photos as well using the, you know, the next size up. So again, even though the idea is to initially trace and then arrange, let this be a bit of a source of inspiration for you as well. So, and by that, I mean that you might come up with some fun ideas. So let's talk a little bit about, we're going to make some pages, but I just have a couple of kind of pre-cut or ready to go ideas. So when I looked at this template, I thought to myself, well, the circles kind of look like wheels. And, you know, maybe this is like a little train car or like an apple cart. And probably apples were on my mind for fall. So I just took my 8 by 8, or I just cut a piece of 8 by 8 paper from the autumn harvest. And then I've just cut some circles and some papers. This isn't going to go under as easily as I hoped. Of course, it never works on camera as much, right? Or as easily. So I've gone ahead and cut some of my papers into the rectangles. I went ahead and cut some bronze shimmer circles, 3-inch circles. And I know it's maybe not authentic to a wagon, but then I just cut some 2.5-inch circles out of some hot fudge cardstock. And I kind of have the look of a little wagon. So I thought I'll put some fall leaves down on the bottom. Oops, and then maybe a lighter strip up top here. And then it does really kind of look like a little fall apple cart. And if you had some of the fun apple or pumpkin embellishments, where did mine go? That were part of the promo a little while ago, you could just tuck a few of those little apples, you know, kind of into coming out of the cart, or pumpkins, you know, put some in behind, put some on top. Of course, these aren't adhered down, but I think you get the idea. So we could have a little apple and pumpkin cart title page. So this would be a great little idea for a fall title page, and you can have all of the little apples or fall leaves or anything like that in your little apple cart. I love the idea of using, you know, these circles. If you're not using them for photos, you can use them for journaling, you could use them for titles, anything like that. And I did notice it always works out so well. But of course, we've got some fun circular embellishments as well. So you could, you know, put, if it worked for your theme, you could put some of the little circular embellishments right in the circles, or even cut some of the circles in, you know, from the mat cards. So if there's a design you like, maybe you're going to cut that out. If there's a design you like, or maybe a title, you could certainly cut some of those elements out into the various shapes as well. Okay, so that might be a great little title, you know, fall fun or something like that. You could do with your letters, ABC 1, 2, 3 letters. Okay, so that's one idea for a little title page. And then the template itself also kind of inspired me in another way. So as that was the apple cart sort of inspiration that I saw. When I flipped it over this way, what it really reminded me of was the grill, and you're going to laugh at this, the grill on a Jeep. Now, we are a family who loves to go ATVing and off-roading, backcountry stuff. So we've had a Jeep Wrangler for a long time, and it just had that look about it. So I thought what I would do is take just some avocado cardstock here, just because it's kind of that woodsy look. And instead of cutting out, you know, the strips, I just cut a 6 by 8 inch piece across here. And then I used our platinum shimmer to kind of cut out the pieces that would make up the grill. So let's get these in here. Again, it's always hard to get them underneath without moving everything around. And it's not until you move the template itself that you see kind of the image. And you always have to think almost in negative, right? So the shapes that you see will have a little bit of a background around them. They'll have some space around them. All right, and then I've got some circles cut out of the platinum shimmer as well. And then some white circles to kind of mimic the glass in a headlight. So I actually showed this to my husband. Oh, I'm just going to place them down here because it keeps moving on me without being adhered. So I showed this to my husband and he says, "Oh, that looks like Willie." And we had a green Wrangler, Jeep Wrangler, that was this kind of, you know, camouflage green. So something like that. And then again, I could either put the title up above, like maybe off-roading adventures with my black ABC 123s. I could add a couple of photos in there if I wanted to. So it's just another fun inspiration that I got when I was looking at the template itself. And again, play the what if game. What if I turned it around? Or somebody said that they saw the idea of like a cassette tape. So make a cassette tape. That would be super fun. Instead of having the strips at the top and bottom, let's get just a couple of the white ones, you know, do something like this, where it would be looking like a cassette tape in the center. So a lot of the elements can be used independent of each other. You don't have to use all of the elements on here at any given time. Okay, so hopefully, you know, you got that, kind of got your creative juices going a little bit, and thinking about what could I do with the template. But let's go ahead and we're going to make a couple of different things. I wanted to do a quick layout, and then I wanted to do a quick title page. I have another idea I want to share with you. So the first one is going to be a 2-page layout, and I've already pre-cut a bunch of photos. Now these are just stock photos that we often use for marketing, but you can see, of course, that I've got lots of them there. So again, this is going to be kind of like what we were doing when we were just playing with the pieces, and we're going to be able to get two pages done here. And I want to do this with some vellum, actually. Okay, so let's go ahead and do some cutting. We'll just cut this down. Oh, I don't think I got myself a second piece. I think I have another one of these. But while I'm cutting, I wanted to talk a little bit about some trimmer tips, because recently we've seen a lot of questions and comments in the Facebook group, both advisor groups and our public virtual crop Facebook group, about people, you know, asking questions, or, you know, maybe saying that they're frustrated in some cases, and how do you get a really good cut? Now we know that this is the best cutter on the market, and we know that it is great, but there are a couple of little tricks to know when you're using it. So what I'm going to do actually is just move my mats here, because of course the first tip is to make sure you're using it on a straight surface, not, you know, part of the trimmer off of, you know, hanging off the edge of your mat or something like that, because anytime it's going to be a little unstable, you're not going to get a clean cut. The second tip is to make sure you have the foot down, and some of us don't even know about the foot. So I'm going to tuck my foot away, and I'm going to flip the arm around, and you may not have even noticed, but there's a little foot right here that clicks into place and provides extra stability to your trimmer over here. Okay, if you don't have that, again, it's sort of like the edge of the trimmer being uneven or unstable. It'll do the same thing. It'll wobble a little bit, and sometimes you won't get a clean cut. Okay, now I did see a comment the other day about somebody saying that their trimmer arm didn't go all the way up and they couldn't get it to be flat. Do make sure that, you know, when you open your trimmer up, that it's working and that it goes all the way up. There should be no need to do anything to make it open up straight. So if you get a trimmer and it's not completely straight across the top there, definitely talk to your advisor. All right, so I've got my little foot down. Now, one of the things I think that many of us express is that we don't get a straight cut. And I wanted to address a couple of things. If you're not getting a straight cut, you want to check your strip, your actual cutting strip. And I know it's really difficult to see on camera, but the blade should be going down the length of that gray dashed line. When you look at it, if you've got a little bit of a bow at the bottom, or if you find that maybe at the bottom of your cut it's a little wider, I want you to get some scrap paper, and I want you to try this. What I have found, and what we've kind of come to understand, is that if you are right-handed, if your dominant hand is right, when you pull down, of course, because of the way your hand goes, you automatically sort of have an angle. So for those of us who are right-handed, if you're finding that you've got a little bit of a flare at the end there, it may be because you're just not applying the same amount of pressure, and you just sort of have that diagonal feel. I have found that to combat that, I like to push up, and I almost like to sort of feel like I'm pushing against the opposite side of the track. Maybe it's, maybe it's actually not doing it, but I think the action of pushing up as opposed to pulling away, it makes me be straight. So that's just something, I don't know if that happens for lefties. Again, when you pull it down, your arm is definitely kind of going on that sort of angle. So just watch, check your dominant hand, and if you're getting a little flare towards the bottom of the page, that might be just because you're not really focusing on getting a straight cut all the way to the bottom. All right, I'm going to cut this to 8 by 8. So let's go ahead and cut. Now, some of you have talked about, not getting a straight cut, and this is the next thing I want you to check. There's two things. You can see that I made a little adjustment there. I pushed the arm up, and I don't want to always rely on the top lip. I always want to rely on the side measurement. So I'm putting the measurement to 8, and then I'm making sure that it's kind of aligned. But really what I want to see is that it's straight all the way down. So if I was doing a 5-inch cut, I would make sure it's at 5 inches at the top, and I would make sure that it's at that same line all the way down, because you can very easily, have it so that it's at 5 at the top, and then you can see it's not quite even. It feels like it's straight, but you can see that it's a sliver away. So use the guides, use the measurements printed on the base to really make sure the edge is straight. And if you can, always use the manufactured edge to do your measurements. Okay, so again, if you made a cut, and just because you were maybe not fully paying attention, or you get that little bit of a flare from your non-dominant hand, if you use that cut edge next time, your paper might be slightly off. So again, if you can, always use a manufactured edge. Okay, now got all that ready. It looks good. I'm going to push up. And again, cuts like butter, and I've got a beautiful, beautiful straight edge. So those few little tips might really help you if you're struggling to get what you think is a straight edge. Now, the other thing is, if you're cutting along a line, and I just want to make this one more tip, and then we'll get on to scrapping. Okay? So if you're cutting along a line, I'm just drawing a pencil line here so we've got something to cut along. Some of us don't know that there's additional tools in our trimmer to help us when we're cutting on a line. And this is great for when you're cutting cut apart pages, that kind of thing. Okay, when you flip your housing down, there are two little triangular white pieces on either side of the blade housing. So I hope you can see where I'm pointing. And there's almost like a little debossed or an indent. That will line up, or should line up, exactly with the dashed cutting line. So make sure you're checking that. In addition, there are also two sight lines, and they tuck in right at the housing. So I don't know if you saw me pull it out. So if you haven't seen this before, up here at the top in the blue housing, there's going to be a little sliding clear piece with a line on it. Same down at the bottom here. Okay, oops. So you can pull it right out of the bottom, and it just slides along. So if you did not know about those, that will help you cut along the line. So what I like to do is, whatever my line is, and this is when sometimes, maybe it's a line that's on a diagonal, but it's the line that I want to make sure that I am lining up with the dashed cutting line that I can see above and below. So first, that's my first thing. I'll look and see if it's even at the top and the bottom. Looks good. Now I put it down, and I look over the top of my blade at those two white triangles. Okay, so I'm going to stick my head in. That looks pretty good. And then I can use the sliding sight lines to make sure that the line is correct. So you can see there's my little sliding sight line, and yeah, it looks like all the way up and down I'm pretty straight. So that gives me quite a bit of confidence that my cut will be straight. And again, what I need to do is make sure I'm not pulling to one side, and then I should get a completely straight cut right down the line. So if you're having problems at all, or if you've been, asking some questions, maybe you don't have an advisor that you can ask, those are some tips that might help you use your trimmer even more effectively. And I have to say, I'm guilty of not always putting my foot down. Sometimes I'm in a rush. I don't often put it down. Let's finish off this cut here. There's our 8x8. And I'm going to pull the other piece that I had used earlier. Okay. And now I'm really just going to be using this as a placement. So I can go ahead and see what my best sort of arrangement would be. And I think I'm going to arrange them with, I need my mat again. Oh, somebody was asking last time about how I tape it. You can just see I just have a piece of duct tape there. Okay, so that enables me to easily fold it up and take it with me. Okay, I'm all over the place here, you guys. There we go. Now we're back. Now we're in frame again. There we go. And I am going to put just a couple pieces here, and I'm going to line up my paper to meet in the center, just because I'm working with smaller pieces. If I put them in the center of each of the mats, then I'm not going to necessarily see across. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, and I think I'm going to place my circles, my circular photos, on the inside. So I could do something like this. Maybe I'll do something like this actually, so that I've got a space in the middle for my title. Okay, so let's go ahead and just tack those down. I'm just using repositionable adhesive here. Get it underneath, move it into place, and just gently kind of tack that down. That looks good. I might have to adjust a little bit. Here we go. And what I thought I might do instead of using more papers here is I thought I would use some of the Autumn Harvest Vellum, just so that it's going to have a really nice sort of layered look without being too heavy. All right, so that's one side done. Let's flip it over. So I just took it and flipped it. And I've got another one of the mom and baby, and that is just a really sweet baby. I was actually working today, and one of our designers was showing some pictures of her child when the child was much younger, when the child was a baby. So that was fun to see too. Always love baby photos. And even though I'm putting all of the photos over here, like it looks like it's a full sort of strip of photos, of course when I take it off there's going to be that center section. And I just wanted to take a quick minute to just show you how I would approach cutting my photo. So remember we said, we wrote it right down right here, 3-inch circle inside of the large CCS circle with the blue blade. Stay over there. All right. So I actually have another one that I'm going to bring out and use on top. So I like to just kind of center it. I like to get my little pegs in the track first, and then I go as far as I can to the edge of the page. because I do want him to be in the center. If I come down here too low, it's not going to take into account the fact that there's, this is the blade that has the most amount of space between the pegs and the blade. So I think that should be okay. And then we can just go ahead and cut. Remember we talked about the ergonomic blades. Again, if you don't already have the new blades, you'll want to get yourself a set because they're just so much easier to use. Okay, and so our last photo, we'll get that down here. And then I'm going to put a couple of strips of the vellum. Okay, now I did know, and I know this from my measuring, that these are going to be 7 and 3/16. Oh, see, I'm so bad with the math, you guys. 7.5, so 7 3/8. 7 3/8 by 5/8. Okay, so I thought that this one was really beautiful, and I also love this blue. So let's cut a couple of strips of the vellum. Again, same kind of rules. Okay, we're actually going to go this way because I can get to my 5/8. There's the halfway mark, and then one more notch is the 5/8. I'm making sure it's nice and straight. Okay, that's going to be lovely. And another one, the 5/8. Oops, make sure it's straight. You can't see the bottom there, but I can. And push up. All right, so I've got my 2 with that vellum, and then, oh, this leaf vellum, this blue leaf is gorgeous. So let's do the same thing. There's half, 5/8, making sure it's straight, using those guidelines. Beautiful straight cuts, 5/8. Sort of like I have to talk to myself. I have to talk my way through my cutting. All right, then I'm going to cut all 4 of these together so they're the same size. And sorry, what did I say? 7 3/8. So there's 1, 2, 3. I think about big notches. When I think eighths, I think big notches. So 7 and 3 big notches. All right. So that's all my pieces cut. And again, I can play around. I feel like that dark blue will be beautiful on the edges, the outside edges, and then that light, the lighter kind of reddish orange would be perfect there. Then I can go ahead and let's see what kind of embellishment would we like. I'd like something right in here for the title. So maybe something like "So Grateful." That would be very pretty. Could do that. I'd like to pick up the blue, so maybe we'll do "Autumn Days, So Grateful." So that would pick up the blue and the orange. Let's get some foam squares. I'm still using up some of my smaller ones. But the variety pack or the variety size of the foam squares is great because you've got the big ones all the way down to the small ones. And since we're using vellum, let's talk vellum really quickly. Okay, so that's going to just go in like that. Just in that nice little space that was left over by this section here. Let me grab my vellum. So we've talked about vellum adhesive before, but it is almost like a snail style adhesive. And so I would like to just put a little dot. Let's make sure we got it in the right spot before I go ahead and adhere it. And the key to working with the vellum adhesive is to burnish it. So the easiest way to burnish is with your multi-purpose tool. And I just like to run it over the areas where my little dots of vellum are. And you shouldn't even see it. So if you are, again, struggling at all with vellum adhesive, little dots, let's get it in the right spot again. And then burnish. So I don't think you can see that at all. I can see that it's there. And actually that might just be one of the shadows of the leaf. I really can't even see it. So here I would, the only thing I'd do is maybe do my journaling in here. And because it's got text on the back, I might add a small little piece of cardstock, or I could even, you know, cut some of the lined paper here and just add it in. I could always make another little shape, cut out a little shape here using that in-between section. So that'd be fun to cut some lined paper using that in-between section. Okay? So yeah, so that's an easy way to get a layout done. I want to share one more idea with you. I know we're at about 10 minutes to the hour, so I've been with you for quite a while, but I want to share just one other idea that came to mind when I was, you know, kind of playing around. So let's do a quick fall title page. So maybe you're doing a gratitude album. Maybe you're doing a Halloween album. I thought what would be really fun would be to make each of these circles into a pumpkin or an apple. So let's do that really quick. Let's cut down our paper again. Again, I'm going to kind of defy my own rules. That looks pretty stable. I'm a little bit off the edge there, but I'm looking pretty good here. That looks good. Nice straight, making sure I'm not kind of coming off the edge there. Okay, and 8 inches again. Here I would make sure that my the bottom edge is along, you know, is straight along one of these lines that goes across. So again, use those guidelines as a big help. Okay, you can put this one in the middle now. I'll put it with the lighter side up. If you're ever wondering, sometimes I do flip things around. You'll notice that this is a little bit lighter up here. This is a little bit darker. Darker things tend to have a little bit more visual weight, so I like to keep darker areas to the bottom. Okay, so now I thought maybe we would cut one of the circles from red and one of the circles from orange, and then we can make them into a little pumpkin. So let's do that. Get as close to the edge as we can here. And it's funny because this paper has got a pumpkin design on it. So that's going to be my pumpkin. This is going to be my apple. And I'm just going to show you how to really quickly transform those two shapes. Okay, let's start with the apple because it's easiest. I want you to get a pair of scissors, either your micro tip or your all-purpose, and we're going to cut kind of a little, like almost like a little S curve. We're just going to start at one edge, and we're going to kind of go down and up. I guess it's kind of more like a C. Okay, that's going to be the top of our apple. And then at the bottom here, we're going to do kind of the same thing, but more like a little poke insert. So we're just going to kind of do a little in and then out. Okay, so that's going to be our little apple. I don't know if you can see that really well. Okay, so we started with a circle. We just took a little divot off the top and a divot off the bottom. So that's going to be that. Now with the pumpkin, and here's a fun, you know, kind of reference point that you can make. You can see the drawing of the pumpkin. So we're just going to draw a couple of pencil lines on here, and you could do it on the back side, and that actually might be a little bit easier because it's lighter as well. So I've just kind of drawn freehand a couple of lines, and those are now going to be the parts where I do my little divots. So I'm going to come into the line, make kind of a little divot, and then go back to this line, and then I'm going to come in and do another little divot. Okay, so you can see I kind of have a little funny shape there. Then the bottom, same kind of thing, but just a little bit shallower. And that's just really going to kind of create that pumpkin shape that we can put onto our, you know what, it actually might look better with some lines. So maybe you do want to draw some lines. Maybe I do want to draw some lines with my felt, my marker. Okay, so something like that. Oh, and then I forgot the little divot at the top and bottom as well. Same kind of thing. Just a little place for the stem. And a little place for the, I guess that would be the blossom end. Okay, now we just need some little stems. So here I've got just some of the dark brown. I'm just going to freehand cut like a little round shape. Almost like a little pigtail, little curlicue. And that might be my little apple core. Let's do one in the opposite direction for my pumpkin. Same kind of thing. I can put it above or below. And if I put it on top, then I might want to do kind of a little something like that. Same thing over here. So, you know, I just have fun playing around. That one looks better behind for some reason. So I just have fun playing around with things. But that might be my fall sort of little template, my fall title page. And again, I could still come in with those same kind of little pieces. Let me get all my pieces that we had when we were doing our title page with the apple cart, right? And I finished those off. And then I could either, again, write inside my little apple and pumpkin, or I could use some ABC 1, 2, 3 letters and put them on top. So I really sort of am challenging you to use the templates in this case as your what if. So instead of playing with our punches this time and saying what if, let's play around with this fun little 8x8 template that I think at first glance you just kind of go, well, there's some rectangles and there's some circles. What can I do with that? Hopefully, I've inspired you to think about a few different ways. I've lost my other little pieces, but hopefully I've inspired you in a few different ways to have a variety of different layouts, title pages, ideas, all from that one template. Okay, so I will try to go ahead and kind of adhere all of these pieces together and put them in the comments. And then I will also put the fast album formula in the comments, the link to the fast album formula. I'm just seeing a comment there. Somebody's saying, oh, you had dark hair when you were younger. Those pictures that I was using, you might not have caught what I mentioned, but those pictures were not of me. Those are actually stock photos. So that was not me in those photos. I had like white blonde hair when I was young. So definitely not a brunette, definitely a true blonde, and not half as pretty as the lovely lady in those photos and that cute little baby. So, but thanks for mentioning that. So yeah, just really lots of fun playing with those recipe templates. Again, it's on sale right now. It's in the sale section. I can't remember what the discount is. You'll have to double check for each of the markets. But it's a fun little thing to pick up to really add some difference and some interest, a variety into your 8x8 techniques. So you can do a fast album formula. You can do, quick album pages with templates. And that template can be used over and over and over again. And again, nobody's going to say, well, I think that's the same design that you did in the other album. People are just going to be looking at it and going, oh, look at that fun little apple cart. What a cute idea. And the next time when they see our outdoor, our off-roading adventure album with the Jeep sort of title page, they're not even going to make the connection. So definitely get more use out of your products by thinking, what if? What could I do with this? Turn them, flip them, kind of almost do that. Have you ever looked at those posters where you sort of have to disfocus your eyes, unfocus your eyes, and then you see another image inside, you know, all of the shapes. That's almost what you have to sort of do with some of the templates and some of your other tools. What would some of the other shapes or inspiration be when you look at that template or the punch or the other tools? Okay, so what if? That's always a fun thing to do. What if? And I would love to see some of your examples of your 8x8 albums. Don't forget that you can always, I think we're just coming into the September completed album, so you can always share an 8x8 album in that. Or if you do one in the next little while, you can share it in at the end of October. We'd love to see your 8x8s in the album, the monthly album challenge. Okay, so don't forget, 8x8s, limited edition, on sale until October 31st. Think about what you need. Think about gift giving opportunities, fall and winter holidays, you know, gratitude albums, 30 thankful days, December days coming up, all of those things. And think about what you might want to use. Remember that I'm going to be talking about my plans for December Days album for this year's December Days album. I think it's mid-October I'll be talking about it. So if you are wondering what I'm going to be doing before you make your choice, stay tuned, and I definitely will be sharing that with you in a few weeks. And then you'll have plenty of time to choose which album, which format, that kind of thing that you want to do this year. Okay? But if you're getting ready to do some gift giving, make sure you order your albums and get started on them. Okay? All right. I see lots and lots of comments, and I don't know if there's any questions in there. I will try to go back and see if there's any questions about the trimmer, questions about the templates, questions about 8x8s, and I will do my best to answer those. One question I did see not too long ago is, Noreen, when are you going to give us your tour of your craft room? My family and I were in Montreal this past weekend. Yesterday was my first day back. So, you know, between work and getting prepped for this, didn't have a chance. I think I should be able to film that and get it up for you on the weekend so that you can sit back and enjoy with a cup of coffee over the weekend. And hopefully I can provide some ideas if you are still working on your great fall refresh. Even though the deadline is done, you still might be working on refreshing your organization, your scrapbook area, your craft space, whatever you call it, your she shed, if you're lucky enough to have one of those. So I will definitely have that up over the weekend for you. And then next week, I'm actually at home office in Minnesota. I'm going to be with our CEO, Allison Dutton, and our product director, Sherry Reeland. So who knows, maybe we'll be hopping on to say hi in the group as well. So that will be lots of fun. And I'm sure I'll have lots and lots of ideas for you after that trip. Okay, so it will be a pre-recorded session next Wednesday because I will be traveling, but it still will be up at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, October 4th. So you'll have to join me then and see what I'm talking about. You know, we're moving into October. New month. Perhaps there might be some new products that I'm going to be talking about. You never know. So definitely put it on your calendar and join me and watch the pre-recorded Fast and Fun next Wednesday. All right. It was a pleasure. Lots of fun today. I had lots of fun kind of playing around with things. Thank you so much for joining me. I always appreciate that you spend time with me on these Wednesday afternoons and evenings. Thursday morning in the case of our New Zealand and Australian friends. But I always thank you very much for spending time with me. And I hope you got some good ideas today. So we'll look forward to seeing your 8x8s, your title pages, your recipe template versions in the near future. All right. Take care, everybody. And I will see you back live in a couple of weeks. All right. Take care. Bye-bye for now.